There's no denying that the rich have it pretty good, not only because they can fund their every flight of fancy, but also when it comes to certain behaviors, they're let off the hook and even praised as being trendy. Meanwhile, when folks of lesser means do the same things, they're judged for being classless or trashy. This video is a little tongue-in-cheek and not to be taken too seriously, but there is some truth to it. How much truth? Well, you can be the judge of that. Welcome to alux.com. The place where future billionaires come to get inspired. If you're not subscribed yet, you're missing out. The world is a judgmental place, so let's dive in and play judge and jury to 15 things that are classy if you're rich and trashy if you're poor. Number 1. Idle hands. The ultimate goal to most of us is to not have to work, but to do it to be fulfilled or to build up further wealth, but certainly not out of necessity to make it to the end of the month. This idea that we could choose to work sounds absolutely blissful to most stuck in the rat race and trying to make ends meet. Even more appealing is the opportunity to do nothing. The bliss to have no immediate need to work, to lay about, sleep late, and chill the way the rich and famous present their lives on Instagram. But when those without money do it, they're literally called layabouts. It seems that the ability to do nothing is reserved for the rich in the eyes of the world. Otherwise, you're seen as poor because you're lazy. Number 2. Being outspoken about wine. The ability to express your love of wine is definitely reserved for the wealthy. In fact, it doesn't stop at a tasteful enjoyment of wine for the rich. They build cellars, host tastings, plan meals around it, and even host charity auctions to financially fight with friends over a bottle of the stuff. The moment a poor person is really into wine, they're trash. Napoleon Bonaparte once said, "In victory, you deserve champagne. In defeat, you need it." Perhaps the modern version should be, "In wealth, you deserve champagne. In poverty, you need it." Number 3. Home is where you rest your head. Having a clean change of towels, a front desk, a built-in hairdryer, an ensuite, and a bucket of ice on demand are all perks of living in a hotel. Living in a hotel is oh so classy if you're among the upper echelon, but when the same semi-permanent address of a motel is assigned to a lower-income earner, it's a classless old chap. And speaking of home away from home, isn't it contradictory how when rich people set up a temporary shelter, we call it camping? When the poor do it, it's called squatting. And if this is starting to sound less like a video and more like your life, you'll enjoy this video of ours. Check it out by clicking in the top right corner. Number 4. Letting things get out of control. Talking about how you haven't cleaned your house in years means very different things on either side of the income spectrum. Either you have people who do it for you, or you work 2 jobs and have just resigned yourself to living in your own filth out of absolute exhaustion. Hygiene, another thing money can buy. If paying someone to do the cleaning seems completely foreign, wait until you see what some people pay their staff to do. Number 5. Who let the dogs out? It's always the perfect accessory to have a chihuahua or 2 pouring out of your Fendi bag, or to have a pack of hunting hounds clamoring out your Land Rover. But if you have a few pooches in your pickup truck or a collection of dogs in your driveway, you're considered a deadbeat. It seems like the whole host of hounds is reserved for the leaders of the pack. Number 6. Private security. There's a big difference between a police escort and being escorted by police. One is reserved for the rich and famous, the other is reserved for crooks and the infamous. Number 7. It's 11 a.m. somewhere. It seems like when it comes to keeping a bottle of your best in your office, praise is only reserved for the top level of top management. Anyone else found with liquor in their desk is considered a liability. The same goes for day drinking. If you're a cute rich housewife, by all means, Instagram all 5 of your mid-morning mimosas, but forget about posting about your lunchtime brewski before you clock back into the warehouse or be without a job. According to Madeleine Fouquet, champagne is appropriate for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Luckily for Madeleine, she's an upper-class woman, or else she might have been featured in a gossip mag for that comment, rather than be named the International Wine Communicator of the Year. Number 8. Getting high on your own supply. It seems like there's very opposing sides of the coin when it comes to the use of recreational drugs. Wolves of Wall Street can openly brag about the amount of frosting they finished in the elevator into work and will probably be invited to the next social at the boss's house. But if the guy at 7-Eleven tells a colleague about a great strain of weed he's been smoking, it's the unemployment cue for you, buddy. The same goes for college kids. If the same fifth-generation Ivy League kids throw a party at a chateau, it's like Candy Mountain for all. But if it's a couple of local college kids sharing a joint, they're good-for-nothing thugs. Huh? Potato, potato. Number 9. Pimp My Ride. If your golden oldie and most valuable possession is a car, it can go one of two ways depending on what side of the social divide you're on. Either you own a Rolls-Royce and your envious neighbors want to know who does your taxes, or you're pulling up in a rusty Rover and parking where you can roll start again. It seems like an old car isn't always a classic. Number 10. Government funding. When a CEO or billionaire is able to leverage tax breaks or access government grants to build up their personal wealth by circumventing the wording of a bill, it's described as admirable, entrepreneurial, or even a sign of business expertise. It's the type of news that gets you invited to the business chamber's board. And when your accountant claims a lot more than he or she should for executive benefits, the government is very laissez-faire. But if you find yourself trying to access government-assigned funds like child support or a personal income tax allowance, then you're an opportunist, delinquent freeloader. It seems like it depends on who has their hand in the cookie jar, whether we call it funding or freebies. But if you really do want to know how the rich stay rich, be sure to watch our video all about things the poor get wrong about money. Number 11. A family affair. If you decide to scale back on the fanfare and host your wedding in your garden, the size and location of your garden can be a deciding factor on whether it's high class or low end. It seems like hosting your nuptials on the lawns of an estate are très classy, while hosting a hoedown under your grandma's apple tree is not as chic. Number 12. Point A to point B. It's clear that how you look at walking says a lot about your status. If you see the ancient art of walking as a mode of transport, you're definitely from the wrong side of the tracks, according to the wealthy. In their eyes, walking is purely a form of exercise, only done in heat-regulating, moisture-wicking advanced technology workout wear. The mere thought of walking to get from one place to another seems reserved for the working-class struggle. Number 13. The latest poll shows. The wealthy are always ready to run with the latest diet fad or fitness trend, from wrapping themselves in seaweed to vibrating their fat away. One of the hottest trends in the past 5 years is pole dancing, a hardcore, hot and heavy, strength-based workout. Add a bunch of yoga pant-clad housewives and it's called a sport, and remember to team it up with a bottle of the fanciest bubbly for the most fun you'll have at 11 o'clock on a Tuesday morning. It's worlds away from how pole dancers are considered at the local gentleman's club. Number 14. Keeping it casual. Casual wear has a whole different rating scale depending on your wealth portfolio. Pop out in some sweatpants, a wrinkled t-shirt, and a beanie, and you could be considered trailer trash, or the founder of a new tech unicorn. The public will decide for you and treat you accordingly. Number 15. Friends in high places. Knowing the name of the local judge means two very different things from the two sides of the fortune cookie. If you always seem to be appearing before the law in an orange jumpsuit, you probably don't have a retirement fund in place yet. But if you have a judge on speed dial, we're assuming you'll be meeting him privately in his chambers with a bottle of Yamazaki whiskey. And Aluxers, here we are at the end. It's good to not take yourself too seriously once in a while. Which of these made you laugh the most? Do you have your own rich versus poor contradiction to share with us? Let us know in the comments. And for sticking with us until the end, here's your bonus. If you think not cleaning your own house is controversial, how about leaving the raising of your kids to someone else? When the working class let their parents or a family member look after their children, it's considered a form of neglect. But when the wealthy hire a perfect stranger to bring up their kids, it's a complete display of wealth and responsible parenting. Go figure. Thank you for spending some time with us, Aluxers. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another video. We also handpicked these videos, which we recommend you watch next. You can talk to us on all social medias or ask a question on our website, alux.com. Thank you for being an Aluxer, and we'll see you back tomorrow.